To see the future, even in the entertainment, the only way is an evolution of the present, using different models and combining non-discriminatory standards with a new vision and a new way of writing for sound and light. What is SensExchange? A research in which every sense can replace the other or integrate it into the perception of reality leads to the observation of what has been done up now. Also in audiovisual production and their limitation, there are our starting point. The first idea is to give independence and dignity to the perception of the visually disabled using a real 3D audio, a script especially written for the audio, and by the elimination of the audio description, because the narrator's voice is a guide and an imposed vision. This new paradigm will allow the visually impaired and blind and able-bodied people to be able to assist, sitting side by side, to the same show, having the same feeling and perception. Carrying the experiment on the exclusively visual channel, using light and color as sound, and script especially written for the light, even deaf and able-bodied people can have a most similar experience. When these products are both integrated into a further final realization, we can create a new equal social condition. By mixing cinema experience with the search for a greater social equality is born the SensExchange project. This project uses all the new logics and technologies such as attention to details, binaural sound, research on light and its frequencies, and much more, to get a new language. All this became reality only through three fundamental ideas: public awareness, individual dignity as freedom of interpretation, and the consequent imaginary future. These are the three pillars on which our project is based. What about public awareness? To raise awareness among the public accustomed to traditional audiovisual product to a new listening and new vision, it is not enough to use technologically advanced advice, but it must be shown that they can be used in different ways. In the first part of this experiment, you can listen the audio recorded with binaural technology, but contextualized in a logical narrative. By transforming some famous scenes of well-known films, we can understand the difference between the two production methods. In these exclusively sound scenes, the audience is concentrated to the listening, and this experience helps a better understanding how the blind could experience the reality. What about dignity? Normally on TV or online, there are some audio-video products described for the blind or subtitled for the deaf person. But where is the freedom of the interpretation if another person has to interpret a movie in his own way? For this reason, going beyond the extra-diegetic entry becomes an obligation. Writing for this type of audio takes into consideration many conditions that does not exist in other production to restore the dignity of listening to everyone present in the room, who is able-bodied or blind. In this way, everyone can have the same experience. What about the future? This new production system opens up new horizons with the interpretation of each of the future producers for an audience as large as possible. What is sound scenography? The term scene in scenography has a different meaning from that is used in the script, where it represents each segment of history. When it comes to scenography, instead, by scene we mean everything that is visible to the viewer of the space in which the action takes place. The scenography is therefore the set of visible elements on the scene except for the characters, as landscapes, buildings, furnishing, objects, roads, etc. But not costumes, makeups and accessories, because they belong to the characters. In sound scenography, instead, everything is seen, also the characters. So, costumes, makeup and accessories are part of sound, and it must be considered that beside the voice, even the shoes, the breath, and the clothes of every actor, for example, have a different sound, and this can be unique to a character that becomes recognizable through sound. What is sound continuity? The audiovisual audience is used to scene changes and temporal leaps that are disconnected from each other. These temporal and place jumps can be explained with the simplification of the message that we often see written on the screen, such as "a year later," and unified with the scenes that represent the passage of the plays, inserting the missing scene and giving them a narrative context by having important storytelling action performed in these time frames, we have a sound continuity. A reading of a letter by an actor must always be an action, and not a simple glance at a sheet of paper, from which the motivation for the next session is not so evident. Which are the differences between ambisonic and binaural systems? Both are reconstruction on three-dimensional acoustic space, but with substantial differences. The ambisonic system uses an array of directional microphones, minimum 8, to record an acoustic space where each microphone records a sector of the entire environment. For the listening, each microphone must correspond to a speaker, and all the speakers have to be positioned all around the listener according to the position of the microphones in the recording array. The binaural system uses only two omnidirectional microphones positioned like our eardrums in the ear of a dummy head that records the entire audio panorama into a stereo track that can be listened as real through simple stereo headphones. To listen to our project, headphones are the equivalent to 3D glasses for the cinema. What about the three dimensions of listening? The important thing in listening to three-dimensional audio is that it's realistic, meaning that the sound counts and moves in all the three axes of space, left and right, up and down, in front and behind us, and above all has to be well defined. It is good to remember that the ear can recognize all the direction of the sound in space, even those that with the only side is impossible, as for example behind the head. Why headphones? The headphones in this project are an amplification of our senses, in that with binaural audio they manage not to make us feel isolated from the sound context, but immersed in the new audio landscape, and often they make us perceive some details beyond our usual listening.